Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News. It is Wednesday, July 23rd, 9 a.m. And going to talk about what is actually occurring in Washington at this point regarding Tom Cotton and his issues with Tulsi Gabbard and the Director for National Intelligence, and why is basically a back to the future situation with Cotton reinstilling the power of CIA and FBI from pre 9/11 levels to pre 9/11 levels. So let's talk about that. Senator Cotton's latest bill looks like a classical Republican proposal. We're going to cut bureaucracy, we're going to save taxpayer money, and streamline the government. But beneath the surface, we have a whole different thing going on. Cotton's plan would gut the office of the Director of National Intelligence, the ODNI, by cutting staff by 60% and dismantling two key divisions. The first is the National Counterintelligence and Security Center, and the second is the National Counterproliferation Center. He wants to hand over the power. He's not going to remove these. He wants to hand over the power to those two, the FBI and the CIA. The same agencies whose abuses over the past decade, at least, have eroded public trust and whose loyalties to the Constitution have at many times, especially in the last 4 years, come into question. This is very serious. This is one of the more serious issues out there. And as deep state operations go, it's a smart move because it's coming at you from the Republican side of the aisle. After 9/11, Congress realized the intelligence community was broken because it is. It's been broken for many, many years. The CIA, and this is going by what they're going to tell you happened, regardless of what anybody else believes. The CIA had pieces of the puzzle, the FBI had others, but no one was putting it all together. That's why in 2004, the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act created the Director of National Intelligence. The idea was to break down the silos, coordinate across agencies, and most importantly, prevent the kind of institutional turf wars that led to 3,000 Americans dying in New York. Before that goes any further, you have to decide once again, what is it that we are trying to do with intelligence? And there are two versions, what is occurring in the United States and what is occurring outside of the United States. Theoretically, the FBI controls what goes on inside the United States, which we know has been a gross failure. And the CIA controls what goes on outside of the United States, which once again, there you go, right? So here's truthfully what's going on. It looks good on paper, right? Because basically it's the Pentagon structure. The Pentagon was put together to streamline coordination between the armed services and the US government. Instead, it became a monster unto itself and also fostered continuing siloing, is what they call it now when there's just one monolithic group without anybody coming in from the outside. We'll basically say that. It's close enough. Stupid term. And this, they say, oh, it's going to turn into that. Not exactly. Okay. So the reform, like I said, looks good on paper. The reality is the CIA and FBI never gave up any of their power, as can be seen from the Biden administration's operations involving both organizations. Even the organization's operations during the first Trump presidency, as we are now seeing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. They built up what they may now call a deep state bulwark. And Cotton's bill would only reinforce that. Okay. Some commentators are saying targeting is involving Tulsi Gabbard. Cotton has a problem with her. He, so of course, is, oh no, I love her. You know, we go on long, windy walks. We wave the flag together. Bullshit. She is currently the Director of National Intelligence. They are mad because she has rocked the boat. She has pointed out the fatal flaw of the DNI when it is in the hands of a responsible person. Okay, under Gabbard's leadership, the DNI has declassified materials that implicate former Obama era intelligence officials in manipulating foreign interference assessments during the 2016 election. We're not even going to talk about the outright spying on people or the outright suppression of various political organizations. That's for an indictment for another day. Gabbard is showing that what the DNI should have been all along, not just a coordinator, but a watchdog. Before Gabbard, the DNI was probably at least materially complicit in the bullshit that went on. Not anymore, right? They've gone in and they have dropped bombs that is going to take the next 10, 12 months of frantic lying, suppression, and possibly murders to keep away from the DOJ and really valid prosecutions, which is why people are scared. Okay. I can only say this so many times. Cotton isn't just trimming fat. He's removing the brakes on the FBI and CIA's power by eliminating the NCSC and handing it to the FBI. He's putting counterintelligence in the hands of a politically embattled agency. If anybody thinks that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are in charge of all aspects of the FBI's operation, I have some property to sell you in the swamps of Florida. Or the DOJ, same, right? By giving the CIA broader analytical powers, he's also expanding their reach at a time when Americans are demanding more transparency, not less. It will become more opaque. You will not know where things are coming from because the CIA will claim the privilege of its job as being super secret, yada, yada, yada. So this isn't reform. It is a rollback to the pre 9/11 intelligence free for all, allowing these two agencies in particular to be freewheeling as they want to be when they still hold allegiance to what is considered deep state operators. It is not there to show any loyalty to the United States, to the current administration, regardless who the current administration is, unless, of course, it's been vouched for by the deep state. You will continue to have problems. All right. So if Congress decides to gut the ODNI anyway, then at the very least, the counterintelligence portfolio should be reassigned to the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA. Because people say, why? Well, who is the DIA? We've done reports on them before. Look them up yourself. The reason it would go there is that we have found under the Biden administration that what is considered the inspector general's offices for each of these bureaus were all hopelessly compromised so that they did not have any effect at all on outlaw operations. Did not. Okay. Working in the inspector general's office used to be able to go in there and kick some asses. Well, there was no asses to kick because you were all on the same team. You can't have a company man working in the inspector general's office. So, why the DIA? Because the DIA, while not perfect, isn't politically weaponized like the FBI. It answers to the Department of Defense, it operates externally, and has infrastructure capable of taking on the job. These men and women are professionals. They're not political creatures like the FBI and some of the agency cats. It also offers something rare these days, which is a balance. If you are looking at the way the government is, and if you realize the tenuous state of some of the Trump regime in the grand scheme of things, you need to develop counters to aggression. The FBI and CIA are aggressively out there doing what they want to do. The counter to that would be an organization like the DIA. They aren't going to get together and have lunch anytime soon. So, if the FBI and CIA are the two fists of the intelligence world, then the DIA might just be the hand that steadies them. Okay? Because right now you don't know where those fingers are creeping. So Tom Cotton may not be targeting Tulsi Gabbard personally, but his actions, deliberate or not, I would say deliberate, are empowering the old regime, the Mitch McConnell types, the Thune types, all the usual jerk offs out there that live by betraying the principles of the United States Constitution. The same regime that surveilled American citizens without due process, the same regime that failed to stop 9/11, the same regime that labeled political opponents as domestic extremists, the same regime that has allowed terrorism, assassinations, widespread property damage, basic insurrection and treason to occur since somewhere around the time of the first Trump presidency. If we've learned nothing in the last 2 decades, it's going to be this. Consolidated intelligence power with no oversight is a danger to liberty. Cotton's bill isn't just about a policy change, it is a warning sign to a greater danger to come. So that's what we have. If you are interested more in the subject, you can go to www.southfloridaconservative.com. You can send us messages. We can supply you with other information as you are interested in this. But more importantly, contact your congressmen and senators and say, we don't want this. We know what this is all about. It is bullshit. You are going to empower the organizations that brought on 9/11 to go right back to doing what they were doing back then. So that's all I have for you on that. Otherwise, have a good day.